we saw a situation where when the vice president entered, there was some kind of a rancorous applause and cheering by a section of the delegates who were there. And you also noticed that the vice president had to go around, not the entire stadium, but there was a certain distance that he covered. And he was basically, waving at the crowd. Was that something that was planned, that, look, since he's a former vice president, he should be allowed to do this, or this was something that happened, it was impromptu?
Moro, thank you. Greetings is a courtesy.
Right.
And when I walked in here, I could have walked to you and greeted you.
Yeah.
But I choose to sit here and greet you. So in my mind of walking to you to greet you, it's a courtesy. I decide to sit to greet, somebody decides to walk to greet. So in terms of courtesies or in terms of greetings, these are things that are not planned. And when he comes in, like he came in, he decides that he wants to greet. You cannot ask that, no, don't extend such courtesy. Because even in our culture, greeting is one of the standards that shows how respectful you are, that shows how concerned you are, that shows how you can easily mix and understand the culture of the people. So the request was to greet, and you don't stop such courtesies when it happens. And he also took the advantage that the other former presidents, two former presidents were not there. The time that was being saved, he thinks that he could use it to greet. So it was basically greeting, and the planning committee saw that, no, we cannot stop him from greeting the people, and that is why he has to wave and go.
So this was not deliberately planned?
No. Greetings are not planned. It's a courtesy that he wants to extend. And I don't think that is something that we have, should even be something that we should be debating so much, because it's greetings. He was not given the opportunity to campaign or to send a message that when you vote for me, and there's no even contest. We haven't opened any contest yet. We always set a date for elections. And we do know that people are expressing themselves to contest. And in due course, by the close of this month, we'll open the nominations for the presidential elections, presidential primaries to be conducted. And that is where we'll come out with rules and regulations that is going to govern the exercise. And I want to use this platform to assure everybody, as a leader, you cannot be neutral. As a body, you cannot be neutral. But your existence and firmness in terms of how you provide platforms for people, what defines the outcome of every contest. So we assure them that we will provide that particular platform. We will be fair. I can still support somebody, but my fairness will tell you how genuine I am, and that will let you accept the outcome of every process. And the leadership is bound to make sure that there is fairness in the future contest that is coming, because there's no contest as at now. So you can decide to put all these things together or raise questions with regards to somebody being given a platform and somebody wasn't given a platform. But this was something that was conventional. You always have the constitutional speeches, and you have the former presidents who also have their speeches. And that is why when you check all the flyers and what have you, we have all the former presidents. We have Dombo, we have people who have shepherded this party from where it was to this stage, Haruna Mohammed, pictures and all that was there. So he's the current surviving vice president as we have in Ghana now. He's the only surviving vice president now, and we are lucky to have the surviving two former presidents who are sitting in now, because the other surviving one, he's the current president. So you can call him the former president. Okay. So it is basically a constitutional duty and by way of precedence. And I think that culture need to be stamped and authority.
So to set the context for why I asked that question and to know where I'm coming from, let me read this.
Okay.
With your kind permission.
No problem.
You know you're my boss. So the over 200,000 polling station executives who couldn't attend yesterday's delegate conference, and now this author who wrote this on Monday, so yesterday, so you understand, Sunday, who couldn't attend yesterday's delegate conference at the University of Ghana Stadium, but are now watching images and videos to assess who truly has the endorsement and love of delegates. Please note that, 1, With the exception of Dr. Bawumia, no other flag bearer hopeful was given access to the inner perimeter of the stadium to interact and wave at delegates. Now, do you understand where my questions were coming from?
Oh, don't worry, I'll respond.
2, the exclusive access, which was conveniently captured and circulated, creates a skewed and clearly or cleverly engineered impression of massive support. That, if we want a fair and honest assessment of where the grassroots love truly lies, we must turn our attention to the outer perimeter where all aspirants, including Ken, engage delegates on equal footing. That's where organic support can be measured and not the rehearsed endorsement engineered by the organizers. You can even compare the videos of Ken's entry to that of Dr. Bawumia, and you will understand the point clearly. Most importantly, let's not forget that this same stage settings and optics is what led us into the most humiliating electoral defeat in our party's history in the Fourth Republic. If this is the same path where we're going down again, then it's obvious we haven't learned any lessons. We probably should have been considering taking a class at the Patriotic Institute. Finally, delegates must rise above the drama, the camera, trick, and the stage manipulations. Let us be bold and vote for real change and not a leadership-imposed narrative. 2028 is about winning elections and not choreographed endorsement. Kwesi Kwarteng, he's a spokesperson for Ken Agyapong. So he's of the view that everything that's happened was manipulated, it was choreographed, it was cleverly engineered to create a certain narrative. How do you respond to this, Haruna?
Well, thank you. I was on a sister TV station and he was called in. He joined by Zoom. This statement was made before me.
Okay.
I responded to the statement and he himself understood and said that, well, for him, this was the angle he was seeing it, but he really appreciates the explanation that I have given. First and foremost, we, the current leadership, we don't want to be so much dismissive of people's opinions. There are many times that you have to use people's opinions, even if it is not valid now, it is going to be valid in the future, which has to be factored in other decisions that are going to be taken. First and foremost, in our constitution, or what the organization that we were doing, there was nothing like hopefuls. In our constitution, we don't have presidential hopefuls. It is when people want to aspire or get to a higher position. People can always plan their lives or plan their political career, and nobody stops people from that.
So what you're saying is that, technically speaking, Ken, Brian, Educhum, Haruna Agyapong, Dr. Mahmoud are all ordinary members of your party?
Yes, as we stand.
Okay.
Ken is a former member of parliament.
Right.
Brian is a sitting member of parliament, a former minister.
Right.
Okay. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is a former vice president and former presidential candidate of the party in the 2024 elections. And if you check, all of them were invited based on their standard.
Right.
And if you also look at it, Brian came as a delegate because he's a member of parliament.
Okay.
Ken was not a delegate, but he was invited. Our planning committee, we ensure that those who contested, those who have raised that made their mind to contest, we invited all of them. We sent invitation to 11 of them, including Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. We accredited each of them with a photo accreditation, and then we also gave 4 accreditation to their team members to follow them into the conference. That was what the planning committee did. We did same to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and we did same to all of them. Even those who did not, like Adainimu, he has not made publicly he's going to. Asefwa, he didn't make publicly he's going to. But we did accredited all of them. Accredit them in person and accredit 4 other persons they bring for the conference. So the planning committee was very, very emphatic and deliberate about getting all of them into. But in terms of who speaks, it's a matter of convention. It is not that somebody has been given an undue ad. This was not a campaign platform. It was not meant for everybody to speak. And my brother Do knows that. He's a very fine communicator, very fine gentleman of our party. He truly represents us. He do everything. He communicates. But in the political environment, you would expect to get some of these things come. Because in the future, it may play out. People, for the fear of optics, will see that, oh no, this is how it looks like. So I don't I don't attack him for saying so. But the corrective measure is that that platform was not meant to be used for campaign purposes. It was a structural platform that was followed by various conventions that we have had. So the planning committee was not deliberate to put Dr. Bawumia ahead of anybody because there was nothing to even be competing for, because there is no competition. Where we stand now, there's no competition. There is ambition. Ambitions was not what we're dealing with, but we're dealing with conference. So for what he said, that is his mind. That is his opinion. I cannot dismiss that. But in a process that will lead us to such elections and such platforms are created, I don't think we'll give Dr. Bawumia that particular open time to conduct himself in a manner that they think that he's giving an undue advantage. Look, whoever is going to win the elections will win, and the delegates will make a decision on that. But we, as leaders of the party, our role is to ensure that there is level playing ground. And that is what we did in the last elections.
Okay.
We did that. We truly represented ourselves. Unlike other political parties, you can see all the national leadership going to support one person. But we, under the leadership of Stephen Ayonsin team, and the general secretary of the party, all of us stood and said that, no, we don't need to indicate where we belong. We have to leave all of them to go into the contest. Whoever wins, then the party goes with that person. Okay. So we have noted the essence of what he has written is fair, is fairness. And we assure him that when the process is due, by the 30th, 31st of this month, the general secretary will issue a statement opening the nominations of for the presidential, and guidelines for the elections will also be issued. And based on the guideline, we assure him that we would not give anybody undue advantage. We allow all of them to go and compete on ideas, not on insult, on programs, not on attacks. And I think that this is the way that we have to go.
How much pressure is this perceptual problem putting on you, when I say you as the leadership of the party? And this perceptual problem has to do with integrity, fairness, suspicion. You are up to some kind of mischief. There's a certain, predetermined outcome that you're looking for, except that you're playing some kind of a mind game. Is this something that bothers you as leaders of the party? And what are you doing to clear that type of doubt and that type of suspicion which appears to have engulfed the processes leading up to where we are, even when it had to do with when to organize your presidential primaries? It was greeted with that kind of suspicion by some of your party, faithfuls. Does it bother you? First of all, the personal level, and also as leadership. I mean, when you interact with the likes of JFK, Nana B, Stephen in team, and so on and so forth. Is it something that bothers you as a team and also even as an individual? Or you think it's much ado about nothing? The nature of this problem has to do with a certain belief that the leadership currently as constituted cannot be neutral, and the implications for reconciliation going forward. Do you get it? I mean, I'm not talking about the usual, you're bad, you're good, the normal accusations or criticisms that are leveled at leadership. Maybe you're lazy, you're not competent. But this one has to do with fairness, and this one has to do with impartiality. And you and I know that once that is not dealt with, then reconciliation becomes a big problem, depending on whoever wins. And that's what I'm asking, that does it bother you? And how are you fixing this perceptual problem?
It's part of the nomenclature.
Okay.
So if you let it bother you too much, you get a blood pressure from it. It is part of it. It's part of the system. So once it's part of the system, you must be very careful. It's just like when you are eating fufu with a tilapia. You should know very well that if you don't take time, a bone will slip down your throat. So you must be very careful. So it is just about recognizing the fact that this thing can happen. Then you take concrete measures to mitigate some of them. And again, in terms of being neutral, there is no leader that can be neutral.
That's true.
Except an external body. Because if you have a casting vote, you cannot be neutral. If anybody tells you that he's neutral, is not being truthful to you.
Right.
Even the Electoral Commission of Ghana is not neutral because the Constitution did not bar them from voting. Once you have the right to vote and you have a casting vote, your neutrality is gone.
Right.
What you expect across the globe, nobody ever describes a commission that they should be neutral, they should be fair, neutral is always taken away, but you must be fair. Okay, so fairness is what defines a leader. And I can tell you, watching me, people can tell you, they can look at me and tell you that, oh no, this person, Haruna supports this person. But in all my work in terms of leadership, I maintain that process of being fair and standing in the middle to ensure that everybody is given the needed support. I can slip, but that should not define the majority of which I have done that has been good.
That's fine.
Nobody is perfect.